Good morning. Welcome to PFY Live, where we come to you every week on Wednesday and hopefully bring you some joy and new ways to do ministry. Today, I'm excited. We don't have a guest that we're going to interview, but I have a topic that I want to share with you that has been near and dear to my heart for years, actually. And it's how ministry done, how to do ministry with joy and freedom. And I have been, for some of you who may or may not know, I have been working in ministry for the last 21 years. And so, wherever you are in your journey of working for the church, whether you are just a newbie and this was your first year of doing youth ministry or middle school ministry, or you have been at it as long as I have or even longer, um, my brief little time with you today, I hope will be valuable. And it is not easy to work in ministry. And it is an amazing job, right? God has called you to do this job. You are working with the Lord. So there is no doubt that it is ordained and that He will equip you for this work. But sometimes we get disillusioned in working for ministry or working for the church. And just like in any other job, we can get burnt out. Though I do feel like right now, the burnout rate for people working in ministry is much higher than it's ever been for a variety of reasons. And certainly the pandemic hasn't, helped that because not only has there been anxiety and stress and concern in working in your ministries, but just the world in general, right, has been unsettled. And and so there's exhaustion that we bring to our work. There's the feeling of being depleted, which leads to burnout. Maybe even disillusionment, right? Maybe you have enjoyed wanting, like maybe it's been your dream job to work for the church because you think that, oh my goodness, there's going to be a lot of virtue. And I'll be the first to admit, even working for, a Catholic nonprofit or working for the church, we are not always as charitable and kind and compassionate and Christ-like, you know? And so that can be really hard when you work for the church because you see the inner workings, right? You see the things that don't go well. You see the things that maybe need to be done differently. You see, struggles in leadership. You know, we're not every priest, not every parish administrator, not every executive director in ministry is going to be perfect, and even modeling, joy and freedom in their own work and working for the Lord. So I I think it's imperative. It is so important that we learn to. I have five areas I want to talk about that need to be focused on in order for you to do ministry well, to survive ministry, to give in your ministry job from a place of abundant contribution and not a place of depletion, and to love what you do, but also be integrated into your life. I think that's another challenge of working in ministry is there's always so much work to be done. So many souls to be saved, right? It was one of the pieces of advice that Father Dave Pavanka gave me when I started this job at Partnership for Youth. He said, Amy, he said, there will always be more work to do than we have hours in a day to do. And I'm paraphrasing him, but he said, pray that you always do only what God is calling you to do, right? Part of that is making sure that you're staying on mission with your ministry. And what is your mission? Right? Defining that mission and making sure you're staying on target in the mission. And that also requires us to be able to say no to things. And there will always be work to do in God's kingdom. And God equips us for that particular job and season that he has us there for. And so we cannot do ministry and survive it and stay long to give all of our gifts that God's calling us to give to this work. And so absolutely, first thing without a question has to be your time with the Lord. It cannot be sacrificed. It cannot be put on the back burner. It cannot be deleted from your agenda, from your planner, from your phone calendar. It is something you cannot let slip. And one of the ways I think that is important to do this is to put it on your calendar. Like it's like an appointment. Like you wouldn't miss an appointment to go see the doctor, or you wouldn't miss a meeting with your pastor, or you wouldn't miss, a youth ministry night, or a confirmation, or a meeting with your board members. You're working for a nonprofit, right? So it has to be put on your calendar, and it has to be there as an appointment, and you work around it with other things that come up in your life. And this time with the Lord looks different, I think, for each person. For me, and in each season too, I think in your life, right? If you're a mom with littles and working in ministry, or you're maybe you're part-time working in ministry and you're doing something else part-time, um, or you're a volunteer in ministry. And so when is the best time for you to pray? I know for me, mornings. I love mornings. Mornings are I'm more focused. I'm not as distracted in my prayer time. And for me, having a place at home to do prayer is also important. Now, if you work in a church and you got the Blessed Sacrament right next door to you, maybe that's where you find the time and you carve into your workday, coming in 30 minutes early or staying 30 minutes late, something like that, to make sure you have time before the Lord. And this is the time where you can check in with him. Lord, this is what I'll have on my plate today. What of it are you calling me to do? I can't tell you how many times I turn to him right now, for as an example, Steubenville conferences are coming. And we need core team members. We need volunteers to run that event. And so I take it to him. I'm like, Lord, who should I ask? Who should I call? Who should we reach out to for this particular opening that we have? Right. And he will answer those. He will answer that for you. He will give you peace. And by spending time with him, you'll then be able to witness the virtues of patience and understanding and compassion, and make it possible, right, for you to do this work that the Lord's calling you to do. So, how can you make time in your schedule for the Lord? Are you making time in your schedule for regular prayer time? All right. So, the second one is believing in your self-worth. And this I know is a lot of mindset work. Um, Being in the Lord's presence is one thing, but now believing that you are a son and daughter of the Lord, and that you are worthy of respect and dignity, um and for what you bring, for what you share and what you bring. You are a treasured daughter of the King, and you are of infinite worth. And if you struggle with perfectionism, or you struggle with having to prove, perfect, and perform, this is a place where helping you work through some mindsets on that that it doesn't matter how many kids are in my youth program. I still am worthy. I'm still loved by God. I don't have to earn his worth. Even if we fail at something, right? And if you're working in ministry, failure is going to be part of it, right? We got to get comfortable with failure and we got to learn from it. And I know some of you might struggle with leaders who don't embrace that concept, like failing forward fast and learning from it. But you can lead from the middle as well. You can lead up. And the big part about that is going to be your belief in yourself. And that's not about pride. It is about understanding, though, that you are God's beloved son and daughter, and that he's called you to this work. He's equipped you for this work, and you have something to offer. And that will require a lot of courage sometimes and a lot of elimination of what is it that you think about yourself. What are the lies that you might be believing that other people have told you, right? So belief in your self-worth. The third one is setting healthy boundaries. This is, gosh, a skill you've got to get like razor focused on and know how to do. Healthy boundaries, it's going to make it possible for you to do your ministry and your vocation well, right? It's integrated. It's not like you're over here, you're a mom, you're a dad, and then you're a youth minister or you're a faith formation director. It's you are one and the same person. And so you need to have boundaries about this is family time, right? And then this is a place I think that so many of us in ministry get caught up because and we fall off the rails here because we think that well it's the Lord's work. And so I have to sacrifice my family time or I have to come home late every night. No, you do not. The Lord does not ask you to sacrifice your vocation. And if you're listening to this and you're single, as a single man or woman, you still have responsibility to live your single life. And that just because you might be the only single person on the staff at the parish doesn't mean, everything gets loaded on you that's, after work hours. I've been there. So anyways, I have a lot to say about that particular topic, but I fell into that myself because I didn't have good boundaries. I didn't know how to identify healthy boundaries and then how to communicate them well. And some of that communication is about saying no and learning some phrases of how to say no with dignity and grace, right? Maybe someone asks you to help them with something, thank you so much for thinking about me. I just can't take that on right now. Or I'm sorry, I can't help you with that right now. Or giving yourself permission to say, let me check my calendar or let me think about that before I say yes to it, right? So it gives you time to reflect on by saying yes to that request. Is it building, is it adding to your mission and your work? Or is it a distraction? And do you have time for it? Whenever we say yes to something, we're automatically saying no to other things. And by giving yourself time to think about what am I saying no to, helps you to be able to really say yes. And I think that's the other thing is how many times have we half-heartedly said, yes, I'll help you, or yes, I'll do that. And you're like, and then you regret it, right? Later, or you're like, oh gosh, I said yes, and I didn't really want to. Let our yeses be yes and our no's be no. And this will give you great freedom to be able to be very specific on your boundaries. A quote from Brene Brown that I like is, daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves, even when we risk disappointing other people. Right. And isn't that a lot of times where we do cross our own boundaries or let people bust through our boundaries is because we're trying to please other people, when really the only person we need to please is God Himself, right? And so, um, how are you setting healthy boundaries and communicating them to others? Because that's the second part of that, is that we're good communicators at those boundaries. The fourth item, action in this doing ministry with joy and freedom, to find joy and freedom in ministry, is keeping a schedule. And I know for some of you, lines make you crazy. You just want to write outside the box, right? Don't want to have a schedule or a calendar at all. But having a schedule gives you great joy and freedom. You use that schedule to live an integrated life, to be able to have your priorities on there, right? Build your schedule with your priorities in mind, your priorities and your values in mind. If your value, your value is time with the Lord, family, and marriage, and then your work in ministry, then it is not going to be a question, when someone says, can you handle an evening program and it's your regular date night with your wife? No, I can't help you with that, right? Because your value system tells you that family comes first. And I'm not saying that there aren't going to be times that we will have to step up. Maybe there's a sick employee or a sick coworker, right? And you're like, okay, I do need to make the exception and I want to help out this time. Or I want to take longer to I need to take longer to prep for a retreat, right? But it's not the norm. And so scheduling out your life, scheduling out each week, each day, what are the tasks that you're doing in your blocks of time? Our schedules reflect our values, right? So get find some way that you like, if you're a paper calendar person, if you're, electronic, whatever, find a way, because this will relieve so much stress in your life. And I know ministry can be fluid. I get it. I get it. But to have at least a framework of a schedule will make it possible for you to then be present. Just just think about this, right? If you're having a conversation with a young person, just in the hallway, right? Just maybe having a conversation with them, you need to be present. Mm, be where my feet are, Christy Wright says, right? Be where your feet are. And you know that you've got your schedule. So you know that, oh, this is my prep time. This is the time that I'm meeting here. This is the time that I'm, putting an event together, whatever is on your list to do in ministry. And you know that it's on your calendar. So it frees up your mind to be exceedingly present to whoever is in front of you. Right. And I have done this for years, and it is amazing how much it frees you up, how much more I get done, and the how much more present I can be for the people in the moment that they're in front of me. All right, so building your schedule, keep a schedule, build a schedule in whatever way works for you. And then the last of the 5 items that I think are critical for doing ministry and joy and freedom and preventing burnout and overwhelm and anxiety is filling your cup. So we obviously talked about one of the ways of that is obviously to spend time with the Lord. but also what are the other ways that fill you up? Knowing that, right? So taking time to really think about what are the things you enjoy? Where are the places that give you joy and freedom and where you can relax and be recharged, right? And for each person, that will be probably be a little bit different, whether you're an extrovert or an introvert. I happen to love grabbing a cup of coffee with a girlfriend. That I'm an extrovert, it recharges me. I also love just taking a good book, going to the coffee shop or sitting outside now that the sun's out and we have nice weather here in Minnesota, right? Maybe it's taking a walk, that 2:30 in the afternoon, or maybe just before an event, you're going to get started on an event for the evening to go for a walk around the block at the parish, right? Or the ministry. What are the ways that fill you up? And with that, taking your vacation time. And I was a culprit of that for years where I did not take the vacation time that was given to me at my job. And I know that that leads to burnout and resentment, so many other things that it leads to, right? We need that time to recharge with family and friends. And, you know, I like to be at the ocean. So, going to places that we can just unload stress and turning off our phones and turning off our computers. Life will go on without us. Programs will go on without us. There's just no question about it. So, what are the ways you can fill your cup up so that you can be present, so that you can be have an encounter with each person that you meet? This is critical today when we think about the isolation, the loneliness, the lack of connection that not only our young people are feeling, but I think everyone in general is feeling. And if we can leave our mode of busyness, right? Busyness, exhaustion, I just have so much to do, right? And go, I have a plan in place. And I also feed my soul and feed my body, my temple of the Holy Spirit, so that I can give my best self to this job and this ministry that the Lord has called me to. Hmm. So I hope those 5 things are something you can incorporate into your life, start incorporating into your life. Time with the Lord, believe in your self worth, setting healthy boundaries, keeping a schedule, and filling your cup because we can't give from an empty cup. If we're depleted, we are not showing up as our best. And so how can you fill your cup up and be an integrated whole person giving from a place of abundance instead of a place of depletion? And if this is at all interested you, we are excited. We are so excited to be able to present a webinar, workshop. Actually, it's going to be a workshop. It's going to be a live workshop. We're going to go through these 5 points in more depth. You're going to have time to give your thoughts on questions and reflection questions and get ideas as how to um, use and incorporate each of these 5 items into your life and ministry. And because want, I want you to be able to serve the Lord in the best way possible. And so we are going to be offering a workshop here at Partnership for Youth on May 19th, Thursday, May 19th. You'll have 2 options to join the live workshop. It's a free workshop. We just want to give it to you. We want to support you in your yes to the Lord so that you can continue saying yes for many more years to serve him. And so doing ministry with joy and freedom is going to be the title of the workshop as well. It's going to be about 90 minutes. And you have two options on May 19th, either at noon, so you can start over your lunch break, bring your lunch, cup of coffee, or 7 p.m. And I'm going to be facilitating that and walking with you in this journey so that you can be sustained and find joy and freedom in doing this work for the Lord. So there'll be a link on our social media platforms, as well as other emails going out about the workshop. And I invite you to join me. Join me in understanding and finding true joy and freedom in serving the Lord. So with that, thank you so much for your time today. Send questions to Partnership for Youth website or to the comments on this live podcast. If you're listening to the replay, watch for emails to come out and links for the workshop. So God bless you all. Have a great rest of the week. Bye.